I was just about to start recording and then my doorbell rang because this showed up. So you know what? Why don't we just do a freaking unboxing while we're at it? Ugh. And the reason why I'm doing an unboxing is because, ow, that's sharp. No, not because I wanna stab myself to death. It's because of what I actually got. I know you artists out there are definitely gonna dig it. It's technically art related. I finally got one of these. Now, why did I get this? I got this for one reason. Because there's a game I haven't played in years. Embarrassingly, that's probably one of my favorite games of all time, even though I've never played it. I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, so yeah. So with that awesome news aside, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I want to talk about the 5 very common mistakes that I see artists make of all levels, but usually more novice, that will guarantee that you don't get hired, be it freelance or be it working in a studio. And if you do get hired, you're gonna get hired for a client who knows nothing about what they're doing and you're asking yourself for a headache, okay? Number 1, and this is a global one. This has to do with art in general and who you're applying for. And I've kind of mentioned this before in earlier art talks, but this needs to be reiterated because I see this happen all the time. Make sure that the artwork that you're presenting is relevant to the job that you're applying for. I don't care if you're the best sci-fi mech spaceship outer space artist I've ever seen. If we're hiring RPG style fantasy art, you're not gonna get the job. Because if I'm hiring you based on your skill and skill alone, I'm taking a chance. I have not seen visual examples that you can do what it is that we're looking for. And learning how to take on a different style is a learning process. It's something that can take years to master. So you've dedicated your lives to doing beautiful designs and chrome renderings and all that kind of Scott Robertson type of stuff, but I need somebody who can do artwork more like Carla Ortiz. I'm just taking a chance. And when it comes to that level of art, I'm not willing to take that chance. And chances are, I'm gonna pass on your portfolio. Now, number 2 is also a very common mistake that I see, again, usually for artists that are newer to the industry and haven't yet completely developed their portfolio at this point. And that is, you use life drawings, be them completely awesome life drawings, as filler for your portfolio. Or you just like your life drawings, so you stick them in there. The reason why this very often gets rejected, in fact, it almost always gets rejected, is because to a trained artist, to a professional, a life drawing or a still life indicates to me you're still a student or you just got out of school. And I'm probably looking for somebody a little bit more professional, somebody who's got a couple more years of expertise. Of course, if it's somebody who's doing their internship, that's a different story because I understand that you're still a student and I'm giving you industry experience. But if you're applying for a real professional job, you don't want to keep that in there because that to me means the person didn't produce enough pieces of artwork, they're a beginner, or they don't know any better, they're a beginner. So I'm going to pass on that kind of stuff. Now, what's the exception? If you're applying to a school to be a student, or you're applying to be a teacher. You're applying to teach fine arts or illustration, and life drawing is one of the subjects that you teach. I want to see that you're good at doing life drawing. Cool. Otherwise, if you're working for a game studio or something like that, keep it out of your portfolio. Number 3 and number 4 fall into a very similar category. Number 1, no fan art. No fan art, no fan art. Keep that stuff out of your portfolio. Remember, you're getting hired to create. Remember, you're getting hired because we aren't artists here. We don't know how to draw. We need you to come in and make beautiful drawings based on our ideas. So you're handed a script, you're handed an original piece of content. I want to see how you can take that information and create something original based on it. If you're doing fan art, all that's showing me is your ability to copycat somebody else. Number 1, it shows that you're 12 years old. Number 2, it shows that you didn't read the job description. Number 3, it means that you don't have the ability to create yet because you haven't mastered the fundamentals. You don't know how to create your own stuff, research your own stuff, and create based on your own research. You don't know how to construct an image properly yet. So what do? You copycat somebody else's stuff. And this applies to professionals as well. If you've got some really gorgeous Batman redesign, if you're that professional, what the hell are you doing showing me fan art? You should be showing your own original concepts using that same skill. Any professional would know better than to do something like that. So make sure you keep that stuff out of your artwork. Now, when is fan art relevant and when does it make a positive impact on your career? When you're doing it for social media, when you're doing it for your peers. You join some superhero redesign competition and you submit your work. Fan art is a great way to get public attention. I know that if I did some cool redesign of some popular character, or if I did some fan art from Game of Thrones or something like that, and I presented it to the public, and I put a tagline on my artwork or on YouTube saying, you know, Ned Stark fan art, I would get quintuple the clicks. Everybody wants to see my fan art of a popular character. That gets a lot of attention, but that stays out of my professional portfolio. Okay? The next one kind of falls into the same category, and that is, and I see this all the time, anime. Particularly anime cartoon characters. That kind of stuff, along with fan art, won't make people overlook your portfolio. No, 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 no. It'll cause your employers to pick up your portfolio and frisbee it out the window. Anime cartoon characters, big eyes, kawaii, okay, that kind of stuff means to any professional employer that you are a child. You are not a professional, you're a child. Every human being on earth born after a certain year all grew up off of anime art, but nobody hires you for that kind of stuff. But I understand. You grew up, it's something that you were a fan over, you drew all the characters, you got really good at it, you picked up on that particular style, and now you've reached a certain kind of comfort zone in your artwork. And you want to keep drawing that kind of stuff because it's what you gotten kind of good at. The problem is, nobody's going to hire you for it. Because it's only showing you one thing. You're showing your ability to do the same thing that all 18 million prior applicants tried to get away with too and didn't. And you're not going to get hired to do this. Now, does this mean that Japanese influenced art or any anime influenced style in your artwork will work against you? Absolutely not. In fact, the polar opposite. It shows that you're current. It shows that you know what's hot in the market. It means you're in touch with the artistic trends of today. But that has to be mixed with strong fundamentals in art, composition, value, anatomy, visual storytelling, color, etc. You want all of these different facets to come in, but you can see that Japanese influence. For goodness sakes, I just bought a PlayStation 4 to play one game, Bloodborne by Hidetaka Miyazaki, one of my favorite, in fact, probably my favorite creator of all time. Artwork that will forever leave an imprint on my soul in the most positive way possible. An absolute artistic genius went behind that. Or Hayao Miyazaki, who made Spirited Away, and all of these animated films that to me are some of the greatest artistic achievements of our time. I have no problem with Japanese influence art. I'm a huge fan of this style of art, but I'm not going to draw Sailor Moon. I'm not going to draw Pokemon. I'm not gonna do it because I freaking know better. Please keep that far away from your portfolio, all right? Now the last one should go without saying because you'd think, well, logically, it doesn't make sense to put that kind of stuff in your portfolio. Yet, I think the reason this mistake is made is because, well, we fan over other people's art consistently. We love other people's artwork, so that goes without saying. But secondly is, you don't realize how your employers, how your art directors, the people who you're applying to, are big fans of art like you. And they've been fanning over other people's art a lot longer than you have. So they get to know other artists extremely well. Not only other artists, but they get to know their techniques, their styles. So they can immediately I can look at somebody's artwork and say, oh, that's Rockwell. Ah, John Singer Sargent, Frazetta. I can pick it up like that. Contemporary artists, I can tell who's learned from Bobby Chiu, who's learned from Anthony Jones, who's learned from Noah Bradley, who's learned from Tyler Edlin. I can pick up these very iconic styles very quickly, and I've studied their works. I know them well. So when I see something, if it's influenced by certain artists, I can say, oh, I can see the Frazetta influence in your work. That's pretty cool. But if I look at that artwork and I say, I recognize that from a Frazetta painting. Oh, no, that's theft. That's plagiarism. And I recognize plagiarism real fast, as do anybody who's been in the industry as long as I have. I know these artists extremely well. I've learned from them. I implement their techniques into my artwork all the time. But all of my artwork is original. I learn from their technique. I learn from their principles every single day. I teach their principles every single day. But my artwork is original. My artwork is not plagiarized from other artists. If that is recognized in your artwork, that from an employer's perspective means A, you can't come up with anything original, so you're stealing other people's work. Number two, who's to say you're not going to do that from one of our artists here, where you're going to take somebody else's artwork and steal it? That kind of stuff happens all the time. It's happened to me. I've had art directors steal my artwork. Sure, theft happens all the time, and it's very strongly shunned upon. It's not only going to prevent you from getting a job, but remember that this is a small industry. And if you're recognized for stealing other people's work, word gets around, especially if you do this consistently. If you're new and a beginner and you made a beginner mistake, fine. But if you're professional and you do that, not fine. And that can destroy a person's career. Professional artists from every different walk of life can have their careers destroyed by plagiarizing other people's stuff. How many stand-up comedians destroy other stand-up comedians' careers for stealing their jokes? How many musicians show up other musicians by showing them up for plagiarizing lyrics from the song or plagiarizing melodies from their song? This kind of stuff is very shunned upon. Is it shunned upon to be influenced and steal ideas from people? Absolutely not. That's part of what we do. But just blatantly coming and taking somebody else's work and calling it your own? Definitely not. So stay away from those 5 mistakes, and I guarantee your portfolio is going to get a lot more attention and a lot more respect. So thank you very much for joining me on this week's Behind the Scenes. Remember, I put out a new Behind the Scenes every single Monday, so don't miss it. Remember, I have my online mentorship, Boosted Pixel. You can check out all of the information below. My art talks every month, as well as the Brush Sauce Theater art contest with myself and Tyler Edlin every month as well. All right? So don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody, and take care.